we are.
I can't believe it. When was the last time we were on television together?
I can't even think back that far.
It was when we offered your book and your videos on the Home Shopping Network. So welcome. Welcome to Primetime TV Show. I'm your host, this time around, Barbara Marville Kelly, and my husband, Dennis Kelly. I know many of you have shopped with me over the years. You've purchased a lot of my husband's videos. Many of you have taken his certification classes to become a professional Tai Chi instructor. We have now stepped into our dream going back 20 years ago. I saw this vision, my husband saw the vision. So remember, our little philosophy for the day is what you think about, you bring about. You know what we're doing in this hour today? Notice we have absolutely no notes. This is totally live and unrehearsed, and you will be able to watch this later on because we will be archiving the shows. But we're so excited to be here that we just want to share why we're doing this, what our mission is, and how both my husband and I were going down similar paths separately. And then when we came together, we just, had such a meeting of the minds, and we were on the same path to help people get healthier, feel better, live a quality of life. And that's why we call this show the Primetime TV Show, because we want to give you and your friends and your neighbors and your relatives and many generations to come that opportunity to live the best life ever. And your prime time can be any time, any age, at any time throughout the year and many years to come. What we want to do is really set an example for our family and our generations. So I get to interview my husband here and ask you all these fun questions, which we've done before. And the one thing that attracted me to my husband when I picked him up at the gym, so to speak,
You really did, didn't you?
was his authenticity and his genuineness and being so humble and all. And when he decided to see if I would be good for the use as setting an example or a guinea pig, you were in the process of writing your book, and I thought, wow, the 6 Steps to the Fountain of Youth. I mean, I was in my mid-40s at the time, and I thought, I need all the help I can get because I was doing shows on the Home Shopping Network. I had to be everything that I needed to be to do the job that I really loved. And so what put you on your quest? Because there may be somebody watching today that maybe hasn't seen us before and just happened to tune in.
Well, it's a long story. There's many things that have put me on the quest. First of all, very poor genes. My father died at 53 of a massive coronary. My mother was in and out of hospitals and nursing homes, probably more times than most doctors. And at 35 years of age, the doctor, when I took a physical, said if I didn't do something quick, that I'd be a good candidate for a heart attack, because I had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, couldn't even walk up a flight of stairs without breathing heavy. I was in corporate America making a lot of money under a tremendous amount of stress. So I really changed my whole world. I enrolled in a martial arts school, taekwondo school, to lose the weight mainly and for exercise. And I fell in love with it, lost a lot of weight, and got in the best shape of my life. And so it was a long road. And of course, it really was good too, because in high school, I was terrible. I was a terrible athlete. I was one of the worst athletes in the history of our school, I think. It's a small town school called Grafton, Wisconsin. We played 6-man football because there wasn't enough kids out for football. So I happened to be playing when the coach hated to play me. In fact, the other team members had come and say, do you have to play Kelly? Because every time you play him, he really messes up. And I heard the coach one time telling the players in the locker room, he didn't know I was in there. He said, this has got to be one of the worst athletes I ever had to coach. And then I'd get home, my stepfather would say I was a lousy bum. So it was a whole warehouse of things that happened to me that really caused a paradigm in my mind I wanted to get rid of. So getting into martial arts school and losing the weight and feeling really good about myself really was one of the best decisions I ever made.
I can relate to that, and maybe some of you can relate to that, going back to the way things were way back then. And it just seemed like no matter what we did, it was never good enough. But that kind of rings a bell when you say you were the worst athlete and they had to play you because they had no choice.
Yeah, they really did. I don't know what made me go out. I must have been a masochistic person because I really hated it.
Well, but today you hold 5 world championship titles in the martial arts. So what I can't wait to share with everyone that's watching today is all your secrets. And we can't do it all in one show, but we're going to share them with you every week. We'll be here every Wednesday at 2 p.m. on the web. So it's really great that you can watch us wherever you are, even on your smartphone or what have you. But talking about that quest, so there must have been a drive, a passion inside you that you wanted to bring forth and learn as much as you could to prove everyone wrong about what their thoughts were of you at that time.
Yeah, I call it a positive negative. I would use the voice of my stepfather and the voice of my coach in my head and say, well, I'll show you I can do it. And in high school, it didn't really work too well because I was so down on myself that I couldn't seem to pull myself back out of that. And then it really didn't start in the Taekwondo school. It really started years back in the dance business. My girlfriend that I was going in my late teens, early 20s, she broke up with me to run off with a dance instructor, ballroom dance teacher.
Ouch.
Because she loved to dance and I wouldn't dance. So I went to my mother to give me some dance lessons because I was really upset, because of the way it happened and all that. So my mother told me after trying a couple times, my mother, by the way, was a beautiful ballroom dancer. Her and my stepfather won many awards and trophies. So I was like the black sheep of the family. So my mom said, you have no rhythm, you'll never be able to dance.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Adding insult to injury.
Yeah, so to make matters worse, every time I'd go to the club, it was the only club in town at the time in Fort Myers, Florida, back in the early 60s. I would see her there with him dancing. They would be doing the cha-cha and the swing. And so finally I went, after many trips by the dance school, a little dance school called Gigi School of Dance back then. I'd walk by there several times after several different days. And one day I finally went in and I told Gigi what my problem was. She says, in her French-Canadian accent, she says, I make you a great dancer. Of course, I think she was more interested to tell me lessons. But I believed her. I wanted to believe her. She said, you'll be able to dance circles around Pat was his name. So anyway, make a long story short, I really got into it. And cha-cha was the dance that my ex-girlfriend really loved to do. So I really worked on that day after day. After 6 months, I finally came back out of my sabbatical and went to the club. There she was with Pat up there dancing, doing the cha-cha. And I went over to the best female dancer in the room and I asked her to dance with me. And she says, Kelly, I don't want to hurt your feelings. No, I said, I can dance now, because they remembered how lousy I was. I had to get half drunk to be able to dance. So anyway, I got up on the floor with her, and we went into the cha-cha. And I, of course, had quite a few variations after 6 months of working at it several hours a day. And again, it was the voice of my stepfather and the coach that really drove me at that point, which is, like I say, a positive negative. So anyway, we got up on the floor and I could see her look over at me and her eyes got as big as silver dollars. So after the song was over, it was a cha-cha. After the song was over, she came over to me and she said, where'd you learn how to dance like that? Would you dance with me? Of course, I was young and I was the type of person, I still had this rebellious attitude. I won't tell you what I said.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it wasn't anything we want to put on TV. And of course, I'm not proud of that fact. But that was the beginning. And 3 years later, oh, by the way, meantime, Gigi asked me to become a dance instructor because she saw so much enthusiasm in me and really the drive that I had. That was the only really good thing I had going for me. I didn't have talent. I had lousy genes. So anyway, she asked me to become an instructor. So I worked in construction at the time, so pushing people around the dance floor is a lot better than laying brick and pouring concrete.
I would guess.
Yeah,
more glamorous.
It was a whole big different world, and of course I was a rough pumpkin. I say, anyway, I was a rough pumpkin, and she saw something inside of me, or at least she made me believe she did, and it really came down to 3 years later, I won the Arthur Murray World Championship in the Pro-Am division doing the tango.
Hear that, Arthur Murray out there? Our dance school, the tango.
Yeah, so that was a big step for me. And of course, then that finally evolved into me eventually because of my weight gain and everything else, my health, because I stopped teaching dancing years ago before I went into martial arts school. And I, as an executive, I gained all that weight because I wasn't teaching anymore. So then the next step was getting into the martial arts school. And my martial art instructor, a Korean gentleman, was really an inspiration to me. And he said, inside of all of us is a world champion. And at that time, I had a taste of the world championship with the dancing, and it entered my mind. Now, I'm going to become a world champion in the martial arts. Of course, the chances of that happening were 1,000,000 to 1.
And when was that? How many years ago was that?
Well, I got into the martial arts in 1975. I was a late bloomer. I was 35 when I got into the martial arts. And my first major tournament was in 1976 at Madison Square Garden. I came in second place. I busted the fellow's nose by accident. I was so nervous and scared. We were supposed to do touch karate, but I touched a little bit too hard. So I came in second place, but that was a big boost for me. I still had some doubts, though.
And you were how old?
At that time, I was 38.
38, okay.
37.
So you're just now getting into the martial
37.
arts. We're sharing all this with you so that you can see where this is leading, especially when we talk about the movie down the road here that is actually an autobiography and book and manual that my husband has written as well. We have a story that we want to share you about your Korean master. Now, I don't know, we're going to be taking a break here in just a little bit. In fact, we've got a couple of minutes. We're going to take a break. But this story that you're going to share when we come back after the break was really that turning point for you, wasn't it?
Yes.
It took you...
Changed my life dramatically.
Exactly. And by boosting just not a little bit of self-confidence in the dance business when you became a world-class ballroom dancer, a champion and all that, that had to really boost you up, make you feel like you could just about accomplish anything. I mean, I would think so.
Yeah, it did. And, excuse me, one of the things that was so interesting about this is that I didn't really have to have anybody pushing me. It was that inside voice that really made me want to prove my stepfather wrong and my coach wrong. Then in 1977, I competed at Madison Square Garden again and trained real hard for that year. Mm-hmm. And I pictured me winning a black, beautiful trophy. I pictured myself standing in the ring at Madison Square Garden, the same ring that Muhammad Ali fought in. Mm-hmm. And I pictured that for that whole year. I saw that, I visioned that, and I could taste it. And guess what? I won, and I ended up getting a bronze black trophy. Onyx and bronze trophy, beautiful trophy. And I tell you, it was just such a revelation because it made me really believe in the power of our imaging and goal setting and all the things that I would read about, but really never had the opportunity to prove. So then in 1978, I came back to Madison Square Garden and fought again. I was disappointed in 77 because I won, but I didn't win by much. In other words, a couple times the calls were questionable, so I didn't win decisively. So my goal was this time at Madison Square Garden, I'm going to win decisively. So I trained really hard, and my instructor was really great. He spent a lot of extra time with me. So I won in 1978, hands down. Nobody even scored a point on me. All day long we fought in the basement to see who would get to the finals that would be done upstairs in the famous Madison Square Gardens, you know, with 20-some thousand people watching the fight. So that was exciting to me. So I fought all day long. Nobody even scored a point. And in the evening on the finals, I defeated my opponent where he never even scored a point. So I had the perfect match. One of the few times that you ever have that happen in a world contest.
So you felt like you really earned that?
Oh yeah, it was the highest high I could ever imagine. And my goal was to have a red trophy. I envisioned that all year, and guess what? I was handed a red trophy right in the middle of the ring, and it was so exciting because I had accomplished it. But then the voices started coming back. Yeah, sure, but can you do it again? You know. So it took a number of years for those voices to go away. Now, of course, going to the future, I don't have to have those voices anymore. I'm totally motivated from within inside.
Would you say that you've instilled the right anchors to get you your head and your heart communicating together so that you can manifest and make all these different things happen.
One thing that I learned about this, any goal that I've ever set, I've always been able to make. And the key thing is 4 stages of that, or actually 5. Determine upon what outcome you want. See it crystal clear. Number 2, build up the desire and the passion, because without the passion and desire, without passion, commitment never comes through. And then number 3 is act. And number 4, see if it's working or not. You know, what they say insanity is when you keep doing the same thing and
we know all about that.
Different results, same results. And then number 5, make whatever changes are necessary. So I live by that code, and that certainly helped me achieve that. But of course, that was just only part of the story.
I know. We're gonna take a brief little time out, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about this and some of the other trophy stories. And even I picked a color, and it was green that one time. Yeah. And what did he do? He gets a green trophy. Anyway, there's a whole lot we're gonna be sharing with you all for the many weeks and months to come. So, John, is it time to go ahead and take that little break right now? All right, we're gonna do that. Stick around. We'll be right back after this.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
Well, here we are. We're back again. Thanks for joining us. Our show is Primetime TV. It's all about letting you know what some of our secrets are in living the best years of our life in our prime. I'm your host, Barbara Marville Kelly, and with me is my husband, Dennis Kelly, and we're just having a good old time here sharing this whole set and what's going on. Just before we took our break, we were talking about my husband's championships and what led up to that. But here is what we want to share with you that we share everywhere at seminars, workshops, training events, and all, as the part that really turned the leaf for you was when you really had to be humbled after going into class so proud with that trophy, right? From Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, that was how would I say it, attitude adjustment. You know, I was so excited about it. And our master, by the way, I have to give my Grandmaster a lot of credit. He's a Korean gentleman of around 65 years of age and spent a lot of time with me and effort to help me prepare for that seminar, or for the tournament, and also for the seminars that I did, because he really gave me a lot of knowledge in what really it takes to be a world champion. So anyway, he was holding a special session after I just won the World Amateur Championship at Madison Square Garden. And him and his wife were holding a special session, and all the black belts that competed came that evening, and spectators, must have been 100 people in the room. And one thing he told us was never to bring your trophy to the school unless you get special permission. Well, for whatever reason, he didn't give me special permission. But I figured he would make an exception.
Because you were so good. And you were his student.
I was his top fighter. There was 4 of us that fought in a different age division, and his wife presented us with a purple gi that evening. So it was a special ceremony in respect to the winners. So anyway, I'm walking around showing people the trophy at the back of the room, and he's up there trying to talk. And I was so excited, I lost all my common sense. Yeah, I hate to admit that.
No comment.
So anyway, I figured he'd make an exception. So he called me up to the front of the room, said, "You come here." I'll never forget that as long as I live. So I figured he was going to congratulate me in front of everybody and show my trophy to everybody.
Right.
He says, "You think you're good now?" I said, "Yes, sir, thanks to you," and did my bow. He says, "You insult master instructor, no bring trophy, show trophy where I talk in that respect." And I said, "Oh, I think I upset him." I said to myself, I think I upset him. So he said, "I show you this baby." Now, what he meant, he was going to spar with me. Well, the other black belts in that school said, "Don't ever spar with Master Lee, because if you do, he's going to really teach you a lesson." Because I was only in that school about a year, and the reason I chose that school was because it was the toughest training of all the schools in the whole area. So anyway, he said, "Get in your fighting position." Well, all the black belts made a circle around us, and I thought, he's going to spar with me. So I got in my fighting position, and he looked at me about 5 feet from me, and he started smiling. And I thought to myself, I'm going to embarrass this old man in front of all his students. There's no way this man, 20-some years my senior, is going to beat me in a sparring match, because I never seen him spar. Every time he did the kicks and things, he'd do it all real slow, with a lot of balance, but very slow. So anyway, I thought, well, then they're going to look at me as a real master. There was that selfish moment. So he looked at me. I'll never forget this as long as I live. It was a life-changing event. He said, "You no blink now." And I thought to myself, does he mean if I blink, he's going to come in and score a point? Now, remind everyone, I had just won the national world title of amateurs, and no one even scored a point on me. So I must have blinked, because next thing I know, I'm flying through the air. I hit the wall, fell down, couldn't breathe. All the plaques fell off the wall that were on the wall. And he came over and he picked me up and jiggled me. He said, "I kick you quarter power, you hurt a little bit. I kick you half power, you die. I kick you full power, you go through the wall." I thought to myself, and I'm choking and gasping. I thought, this is unbelievable. How can this older man do something that nobody else, all these younger people I fought, weren't able to do? At that moment, I realized I want to be that man.
And you have become that man.
I want to be that man. And when I went to him and asked him, I said, "Now there are things that you must know that we're not doing for you to reach that kind of excellence at your age." And he said, "A lot of hard work," but he said, "There are some things, but you wouldn't be interested." So I said to myself, and I said to him, I said, yeah, I would be. And I said to myself, I want to find out the secrets. And I said to him, yes, I would be interested. So after finally several weeks of asking him and almost pleading with him to show me some things that I can do to improve my fighting so I can be a champion amongst professionals, not just a champion amongst amateurs. Now this was a real pro, this Grandmaster. I mean, he did in 5 seconds what nobody could do all day long fighting in Madison Square Garden. So anyway, one Saturday afternoon, we got together and he said, come on in, I'll show you some things that you can do to improve your fighting, to make you much better martial arts, be able to compete in the world of professionals. So I came in, I wondered, what is he going to show me? I hope I didn't, he's going to show me something that's going to hurt that bad or something. I didn't know what he's going to do to me.
Well, kind of like payback, right?
Well, after he did to me with about 5 seconds of a kick, I didn't even see coming. I figured, well, what's in it? But I was really determined. I wanted to break that paradigm. I wanted to really become somebody in the athletic world, not just in the business world. So anyway, when I came in, there was nobody else in the gym at that time, in the school. So he put on this music, this slow music, with a record player. And he started doing these slow moves. I thought, what the devil is he doing? I'd never seen anything like that. And I said, what are you doing, Master? He said, I'm doing something that you're going to need to do to be a true world champion, to have the balance of the soft and the hard. He says, you people in the West are always interested in this hard stuff. He said, what I'm going to bring to you is the balance, the soft and the hard. He said, you have to learn how to heal to be able to be a world champion. I said, well, I'm not interested in healing people. No, you have to learn how to heal yourself, because the training, the schedule, the type of fighters you're going to meet and compete against. So as a result, I started really taking a note of what he was doing. And it was a form of combination Chinese, Tai Chi, and a form of Korean Qigong. It was a mixture of it, because his wife was Chinese, and he was Korean, of course. So anyway, I started loving it. And it was that moment that I decided to go into his world with the soft and the hard, and really study this art of Qigong and Tai Chi that enabled me to win 5 world titles.
And was it mainly because, well, I know what it has done for me. For you, did it teach you how to heal yourself? Because I remember hearing those cracked ribs when we were in the auditorium one time when I traveled around the circuit with you. It did, didn't it? It helped.
Yeah, because I was able to heal much faster and still keep up my training and everything. But one thing it did really do well, it taught me how to focus and concentrate. And to me, in fact, one of my favorite sayings is that attention is the weapon of the super warrior. Attention develops concentration. Concentration develops spiritual power. And spiritual power is the mightiest force in existence. And it's this being able to focus and what I call focus your chi, your energy, for the moment. Very few people can focus more than a few seconds at a time, because we have so much mind chatter. We're not genetically engineered to handle the kind of stress that we have in this world today. So within a 60-second period, most people have over 15 to 20 different concept changes. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the mind is like a thought junkie. So that's why a lot of people never get anything done, because they have goals, they have dreams, but eventually they deteriorate. They always say that a person dies at 35 and they don't bury him till 40 years later.
Yeah, right.
Because of the fact that we have these dreams, we have these goals, but because we can't focus on these goals, we allow ourselves to major in minor things, like getting the checkbook up to balance and things like that. So that's why focus and concentration is the really key to this. In other words, if you really put it, it's internal strength versus external strength. We in the West look at external strength, lifting weights, running, jogging, getting that heart rate up. That's all physical strength, and that's important, of course,
Right.
in a sport. But when you get into a world sport, whether it be tennis, bowling, golf, doesn't matter. Everybody that is a world professional is in good physical shape. At least most everybody is. So the difference is made is with that internal strength. Internal strength always wins out over external strength, providing everything is equal in external strength. The internal is where you can really take this energy that we developed called chi. Chi has three meanings in our language. It has energy, it has focus. In other words, it has energy, focus, and life force. So that one word has so many different meanings. And the key thing is when you can focus on it, like there's 4 laws. And those 4 laws will really help you as far as being able to understand what I'm saying. The first law is the law of attraction. We think of what we think about, we bring about. And when I was thinking of my trophy winning in Madison Square Garden, and you have to have passion with that, then that is going to come to fruition. It doesn't matter, it will, it's just a matter of how soon. In other words, if you keep that focus there every day on your goals and your dreams. So that's so very important. Then the law number 2 is deliberate creation. So you have to understand law number 1, be able to law number 2. So by understanding what you think about, you bring about, then you can think about what you want to bring about rather than bringing about what you don't want to. Because most people spend things on what they don't want to have happen. They spend most of their time and thought on the things they don't want to take place. In other words, living their life in fear rather than thinking about what they do want. But that again takes the focus. So the Qigong and Tai Chi enables the individual to practice that over a period of time to really develop those skills of focus. So the third law of attraction is the law of allowing other people to be the way they want to be, even though they want you to be the way they want you to be. It's like living your movie as a director, living your life like a movie as a director of the movie rather than a character in the movie. The ideal situation is be the character in the movie and be the director.
Which is what you've been doing all these
Right.
years.
So what I did is I created the situation, the scenario, to really create a movie of my life. So I would sit back as a director and say, do I want that character to act like this, to be like that? So it made things not oversimplified, but to the point where it really was viable and it works, and anybody can do that. And the biggest hang-up that people have is trying to change other people. That's where the third law is so important. That's the hardest of all the laws. There are 4 laws, but the third law is the hardest because we always get in things, in trying to put out fires of other people or fires that they create us to do. So let other people be the way they want to be. Don't try to interfere with that. You know, a lot of time when people find a mate, the very thing that attracts them to them is the very thing they try to change. You know, it doesn't make sense to me. So the 4th law is the law of disuse atrophy. What you don't use, you lose. If you don't use your mind a lot, do reading, do things that improve your brain power, then you're going to lose it. If you don't work on your emotions, and I consider one of the most important factors of being successful as an athlete, as a warrior athlete, as a father, mother, as a school teacher, is your emotional IQ. Your ability to handle and control your emotion. Again, there we go back to focus and concentration. So really controlling your emotions is a matter of focusing and concentrating, learning to respond to things rather than reacting to things. And there's a big difference. Like when you get in the ring and you react to things, you leave yourself exposed. You may throw a punch and that's reacting to your partner, but he may counter that and catch you with a kick or something. But when you are taking and forming a formula, in other words, where when that person reacts, then you can respond in such a way that is an intelligent maneuver. In other words, an intelligent movement. For example, if somebody strikes at you with a punch, then you block it and then punch back, that's a reaction. But if somebody punches with a punch and you move and he misses, that's a respond, because then you can retaliate. But that's not just in the martial arts, that's in everything. That's in everyday life. So this is one of the things that I really follow religiously. One of the other formulas I use that has patterned, it helped me be very successful in business too, and really in my training, and I live by it religiously. I got this idea from a tape that I listened to, or a record I should say, it was before tapes were out, years ago. The formula is Q plus Q times S equals amount of success. The Q can mean several things. For example, if it means to become a world-class athlete, the quality of your training plus the quantity of your training times the spirit and harmony in which you train equals the amount of success you're going to have. Now in business, the quality of your service plus the quantity of your service times the spirit and harmony in which that service is rendered is going to give you the amount of success you're going to have. So simple.
It is simple. And, you know, I have that ringing in my ear, that wonderful ringing in my ears when we talk about peace and harmony, peace and harmony. And, you know, we have our own business, our own family business, and it can be challenging with a husband and wife at times, especially when I don't get my own way all the time, but I usually do.
Most all the time. Guys out there, the best way to have power is just let go of the power. And she does sneaky things.
And
like,
rub her feet. Rub her feet.
Oh,
Become a
don't ever give your wife or girlfriend a foot rub. Believe me, you'll become a foot slave for life. But you know, Barb does a little nasty tricks. I say nasty. They're cute. They're cute. Didn't mean nasty. All right, like on the dishwasher, she'll, sweetheart, thank you for emptying the dishwasher. Well, the dishwasher isn't emptied yet. So how can you be? Or thank you for making the bed. If she happens to be out of business and I'd be the one that happened to wake up last. So anyway, that of course is what I call really assertive woman rather than aggressive woman. So women out there, that's a good cue. Guys, forgive me for giving the secret away.
Well, you know, getting back to the focus and concentration, there's a lot to be said for that. You know, this is the first time I heard you explain about the punch and being a reaction or a response. That's very interesting. And while you were going through those antics, I'm thinking, wait a minute, that has got to take a tremendous amount of focus in that instant, because, I mean, those fights, they're only what, 2 minutes long? So you've got to be such a fast thinker and really programming your head to communicate with your heart so that you do make those right responses rather than reactions. I think we have a commercial break coming up, John Boy. We do? Right now? Okay, he's giving me this. So that must mean we're going to wrap it up for right now, but don't go anywhere. Come on back. We have lots more to show. I just have him wound up like the Energizer Bunny. We'll be right back after these messages.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
And we're back with you here at our Primetime TV show. I'm your host, Barbara Marville Kelly, and with me is actually my co-host and my husband and dear best friend, Dennis Kelly. Are you having fun?
I'm having a great deal of fun.
I know, this is really cool. If you're just tuning in, what we're talking about are a lot of the accomplishments that my husband has actually brought into our life since I met him, and what happened beforehand. What you see there in the background is his last competition when he won his 5th World Championship, right?
Right.
And that was where?
At the Battle of Atlanta.
Battle of Atlanta. And how old were we there?
69 years young.
69 years young, you bet. You said a mouthful on that. Well, just before we took our little break, we were talking about what happens with this internal energy and how you have to be so focused as a sport athlete, as somebody going out there, going for the gold, going for your black belt, going for that championship. And it also, like you were saying, it spills over into your personal life. It doesn't matter whether you want to be a world-class mom, dad, wife, husband, or whatever. It really, truly does. And my husband has become my life coach from day one. And I picked up so many wonderful tips on how to really focus. I almost have this thing where he gets after me because I focus on so many things all at the same time. But that's because my brain's trained that way after working for the Home Shopping Network and going from one product to the next. And I never realized that my brain was actually trained that way till after I retired from HSN, and I started getting on my own nerves when nobody could follow me because I was going from one concept change to another, like you were just talking about before the break. But if we can sort of adapt to a particular program, we can accomplish anything our heart desires. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
I mean,
there's
really
no limit
is.
to the human potential.
It really isn't. So going back a little bit, we were talking about, excuse me, how your Korean master was really a big motivator and somebody who truly inspired you. So you started doing the Tai Chi and the Qigong, and you integrated that into your hard style martial arts. Now, that brought balance, correct?
Right, absolutely.
And would you say that is actually some of your secrets to where you could go out and compete today at age 76 years young at a world-class level?
Yeah, it's that balance. You know, we don't have to age like everybody else. Aging, according to Deepak Chopra, and I agree with him, is the way he stated was quite unique. He says a premature commitment, premature cognitive commitment is aging. In other words, where you see other people growing old, then you feel you need to be growing old at that age. And what's so sad is to see all my friends and your friends at our age growing old. And we don't grow old like they do because it's a mental thing too. You know, hanging around or associating with people that think young. There's so much to that. Our mental attitude, our emotional intelligence, they all have a lot to do with how long we're going to live.
Well, I think too, and some, it's sometimes easier to give up than stay strong and never give up. I mean, that is one of our mantras, is never give up. If you tune in with our shows from time to time, you're going to hear a lot of the different things that have gone on our life. It hasn't always been a bowl of cherries, but the one thing that we've stayed strong with is our belief system. Our faith is very strong. We love each other, and we find ways to really look for solid answers that make sense to us, and always live from the heart. That's a whole probably 6 months, and we'll be talking about that, is helping people learn how to live a heart-empowered lifestyle. Because when you live from the heart, it gives you that upper edge to make the right decisions each and every single time. So we're going to save some of that for one of our upcoming shows. But we're going to be talking about right now the whole Tai Chi and Qigong, because my husband's still teaching. How many classes that he reminds me of?
45 a month.
45 classes a month.
Plus certifying instructors to teach
Exactly.
also.
In fact, we just we want to do a shout out to Mergen Martial Arts. If you're out there watching, or you come back and watch the archive show, Mergen came to our training just a couple of weeks ago, where we certified a wonderful private group of individuals over the weekend in a very master hands-on intensive 2-day event. It was wonderful, and we have one coming up on June 21st and 22nd, just weeks away. And if you want to find more about that, if you go to my husband's website, www.dennis-kelly.com, and click on the home page, it will share with you if you're interested in becoming an instructor, and if you want to find out more of the features and benefits of what Tai Chi and Qigong can do for you, it's all there. And of course, you can always email us or contact us at it's Kelly Dennis at AOL.com, and I'm Barbara Marville at AOL.com. Had to get a little housekeeping in there.
You're good at that.
But the reason why I mentioned Mergen martial arts is we've been trying to convey your secrets of the balance of the hard and the soft, and Fred Mergen and his darling wife Diane really got it.
Lovely couple.
And they posted it on Facebook. They said what did he say? He said, this internal power, this internal chi is no joke, especially after they watched you do the demonstration on energy. It was wonderful. If you go to my timeline, you'll be able to see that demo. So what else do you want to share about the Qigong and the Tai Chi and how you brought that together with the hard style?
Well, it's the hardest people in the world to convince about the benefit of Qigong and Tai Chi mixed with the hard type of training is martial arts school, martial art participators. And it's so wonderful when you can balance the two together. In fact, Dr. Oz was not too long ago on national TV quoted, he said, or I'm quoting him, he said that if you want to live to be 100, do Qigong. And one of the biggest almost kept secrets is people keep talking about Tai Chi, Tai Chi. Well, Tai Chi without Qigong or Qigong without Tai Chi is only half of it. A lot of the schools that teach Tai Chi use Qigong sort of as a warm-up. They don't really take it serious. But the Qigong is really just as important as the Tai Chi in all of our classes, and I train my instructors to go out and try to have 50% Qigong, 50% Tai Chi, mixed with their other hard style exercise, whatever they do. But you really don't need any hard style exercise because there is certain forms of Qigong, we call it dynamic fusion, that actually gives you the benefit of hard exercise without hurting the body and developing and helping develop the power of Qi. We call it the three treasures. Excuse me. Qi is energy. It's all around us. We have 5 kinds of Qi that we live by. Qi is developed through Qigong better than any other exercise. It's like meditation and motion. Then with Qi, the Tai Chi develops what they call Shin. That's part of the three treasures. Shin, S-H-E-N. Shin is the feeling or the spirit. Now when you combine Qigong and Tai Chi, the Tai Chi is the Shin, the Qigong is the Qi, then you combine the two together. The third treasure comes out, and that's called Qing. Can be spelled J-I-N-G or C-H-I-N. This is the real power, the internal power that we speak of so much in the martial arts. And very few people know how to really tap into that power. It's almost like when you're fighting, you know what your competitor is going to do before they even do it. And you have this tremendous energy, but the key is the focus to be able to bring that energy out where you need it, not wasting it.
That's going back to the focus. That is just so critical to really understand and really grasp is that focus. And I'll be the first one to admit I can get off focus, but when I really focus, that is when the magic happens. That's when great ideas come and different things that help me accomplish what I need to accomplish and what I want to accomplish. So like you were saying, it goes into your personal life as well. And as a fellow martial artist, I'm only at my yellow belt at Taekwondo, but don't mess with me.
She always says she's going to kick my butt. And you know what? She probably could.
So, we're talking about your system, which is called the Tai Chi USA system. And I watched this unfold many years ago when what you did to make our system different than what's out there as far as teaching people to learn Tai Chi and Qigong is really taking a blend of the East and the West philosophy as a result of a student who came to my husband wanting to be a Tai Chi instructor. Her name was Jan Shields, and to this day, we can't thank her enough because it allowed us to put together a program without taking away any of the integrity of the program itself so that you get results. And the story about Jan was just phenomenal. I always love when you share that, because she's what had you really get down to the drawing board to make this Tai Chi Qigong thing easier for us here in the United States.
Yeah, well, that's very true. You know, I saw what it did for me, but this was such an example of what it could do, the human synergy that goes on with being able to do a program correctly. She came to us one day when I was handling, or I should say, having auditions for people that want to be a Tai Chi instructor, because I certify people all over North America to teach Tai Chi and Qigong through either distant learning or on-hands learning. Well, we set up a table in a gym, and we put a little ad in the paper, and Barb and I were auditioning people to become Tai Chi instructors. And there was a fee for that, of course. So Jan came to us, could hardly walk when she came in. She was about 110 pounds, 120 pounds overweight. And she said she left her cane in the van, and she wanted to become a Tai Chi instructor. Well, I said, Jan, I couldn't morally or legally take her money because of the condition. Why don't you start as a student, you know, and then we'll go from there. Well, she said, I don't have any money. I said, well, how do you expect me to certify you? She says, you'll give me a scholarship. And then, of course, I looked at her like she was crazy, I know, and Barb kicked me under the table. So that, I knew what that meant. So rather than arguing with Jan, I decided to give her a movement to do, because she could hardly move her arms. I mean, she really was in bad shape. She had fibromyalgia, lupus, narcolepsy, had a heart attack or stroke, and spent a lot of time in a wheelchair. So this is one of her days where she could get up and walk out of the wheelchair.
And she lost her 3 sons because she couldn't caregive for them.
She had to turn over her 3 sons to her parents to take care of the 3 sons because she couldn't take care of them anymore. Well, I gave her this special movement. When I say special, it's one of the harder movements for a beginner to do. And I said, you come back next week and we will give you a scholarship if you can do this move. Well, I figured I'd never see her again. She came back next week and she did it. Little did I realize she spent 3-4 hours a day practicing to the point where she had to actually crawl to the restroom to be able to take and use the restroom. She had to crawl on her hands and knees. I didn't know this till after things changed many, many months later. So anyway, make a long story short, she got involved in it. All of the afflictions she had were reversed. I can't use the word cure. They were reversed. She ended up becoming my top instructor and eventually my national training director. Unfortunately, we lost her to ovarian cancer, but on her deathbed, I gave her her Grandmaster title, trophy, or I should say award and plaque. And it was really a sad but yet beautiful moment because she said, I want you to continue this. I want you to share this with everyone because the 3 years that I spent with you and Barbara have been the happiest of my life. She had some very misfortunes happen in her younger years. So anyway, that really inspired Barbara and I to really go at this as a full-time career because what we did with Jan. And it's so hard for people to believe this. Miracles can happen.
You know, it's true. It's true. Miracles do, and that truly was a miracle. She had applied for disability, and then when she started teaching Tai Chi, Channel 10 had done a story on her. We still have that video somewhere. And it was just so rewarding for us to see. And it goes right back to the focus, the concentration, and a never give up attitude. So we're going to be talking all about that. We're running. I can't believe this is already an hour.
That's fast as all I've ever seen.
I know. Well, time does really go by fast when you're having fun. But we're going to talk just for a few minutes here on what we're going to be sharing down the road. Mark it on your calendar. Our intentions are to be here every Wednesday at 2 o'clock. That's the only time slot Kelly actually has to be with us here. But we're going to be talking about your golf program, which is called Master Warrior Golf. And you can also look that up on Facebook. We're both on Facebook. We both have several pages and groups on there, and you can find out more about what we're doing. We're going to be talking about goal setting. We're going to be talking the power of the heart. Our company is Heart Math Institute certified, so we will be providing a lot of the science behind why the heart is the way to go, why live a heart-empowered life so that you can make the right decisions. we're going to be talking about Tai Chi and Qi Kong. And I mean, my husband at 76 is not on any medications. He has not had any knee replacement or hip replacement. And these are some of the things that I know you want to get to the martial arts world. And anybody that has challenges, again, we can't make any claims, but you'd be surprised if you can do some of these moves very gradually. Imagine what it can do for you to prevent falls. A lot of times when you fall and you can end up in the hospital, and of course we know what complications can come from that. But this is our way of giving back to you. And again, it's us stepping into the dream that we've had for 20 years. After we've been with 90 million viewers at the Home Shopping Network, you get a little spoiled with your audience, and we figure, well, the one big hurrah that we want to accomplish is we want to get my husband's movie done. And it's called The Legend of Tango Man, and it's also going to offer a bonus Master Athlete Sport Manual in this book/movie. So that is another way to get to a lot of people. And if you can help us share the word, share our shows, because they will be archived, and I'll be going on Facebook and posting where you can see them. They'll be up on YouTube and all that. So gosh, how does this feel? Isn't it great?
Wonderful. This is great, being able to share these things with everyone out there and the viewers, and we're really excited about the future, and to be able to be in a position to share with you ideas that would take you hundreds of hours of research. And I sort of, like you might call me, an eclectic. I've taken the research from many others, over 30 years of really researching human engineering and health and fitness. It really enabled me to go way beyond what my normal physical characteristics are as far as my physical abilities.
Exactly. You've really overcome a lot, and I must say I have too. And together we have this synergy that we just want to share with the world. We need you to help us do this. So spread the word. Again, to get a hold of either one of us, you can always contact us through email, Kelly Dennis at AOL, Barbara Marville at AOL, and then my husband's website is dennis-kelly.com. Go there and take some time, have a little beverage, sit back and see what is behind this whole Tai Chi, Qi Kong, and how it just might help you. And of course, we do have that event coming up. That's going to be June 21st and 22nd, and if you go to my husband's website on the homepage, it tells you all about it. You come in on a Saturday. You need no experience to become an instructor or a master trainer, and you will leave Sunday with your basic entry level to go out and Tai Chi. That's the other thing. We love the fact that we're helping to put people to work and helping others get healthier, get stronger, build better balance, focus, and concentration. And we integrate a lot of the substantiation that has been made by a lot of the studies that have been done out there, such as Tufts University, USF, Johns Hopkins. We really provide all of the data so that you understand that you're being taught by the professionals. And we're just very excited to be able to do this with you. So thank you very much for joining us. Again, mark your calendar. We are going to go up next Wednesday at 2 o'clock. And if you want to get a hold of me through my website, it's www.barbaramarville.com. And we have more to share coming up next week. So stay tuned and turned on, and we'll see you next week. In the meantime, have a beautiful week. Be safe, and God bless.